While working on the podcast, I got the breaking news of the announcement from UALR. The Tech Launch program at UALR has made this happen, and you can see the official times on this as far as the invite. Please go to their website and register. Okay, it's very simple.
Tech Launch brings AI Tech Innovators to campus Tuesday, March 4, 1:30 p.m. program or 4:30 p.m. Reception Argentina is emerging as a powerhouse for AI innovation, with companies like Celara, Possumus, and Nybble shaping the future of AI-driven business transformation. Whether it's optimizing processes, revolutionizing knowledge management, or unlocking new revenue streams, these companies are redefining AI's impact in the real world. Tech Launch AI event details Tuesday, March 4, 1:30 p.m. program at the Schueck Lexicon, McCarty Auditorium, 4:30 p.m. Reception at the Windgate Center of Art Plus Design. Register now about the event. Join us for a full afternoon of learning about AI from international experts on the topic. Presenter Zubair Talib, Celara Labs. Beyond the Buzz, where AI is headed in 2025, beginning at 1:30 p.m. Join Argentinian engineers for an exclusive discussion featuring Zubair Talib, an AI expert with an MIT background. We will dive into what's next for AI in 2025, beyond the buzz, beyond the hype. Expect sharp insights, real-world perspectives, and a conversation that cuts through the noise. Whether you're building with AI or just trying to keep up, this is a discussion you don't want to miss. Investing in AI, beginning at 3 p.m. AI investment is shifting fast. Funding isn't just going to the biggest models anymore, but to the companies building AI-first products and real business applications. The winners won't just be those with the best tech, but those who know how to integrate it effectively. Celara, Possumus, and Nybble are deep in this space, building AI teams and watching where the real opportunities are. They bring first-hand insight into where AI investment is heading and what actually matters. If you want to understand where AI is creating real value, this is the conversation to be in. Panelists from left to right: Gustavo Castaneto, Nybble; Zubair Talib, Celara Labs; and Pablo Abdian, Celara Labs. Reception beginning at 4:30 p.m. Join us for a reception at the Windgate Center of Art Plus Design at 5617 West 28th Street. All galleries will be open, and this will be a chance to meet our guests from Argentina and enjoy snacks and Argentinian wine. The reception is sponsored by Gadberry Financial Group and the Arkansas State Chamber. Parking information.
Okay, we're getting into the final countdown to the big event on artificial intelligence coming to Little Rock on March the 4th. That's not very long. I guess our sponsors are UALR and Marla Johnson, and also our sponsor for our wine tasting after the I guess the educational and some of the other things that we'll be doing later in the evening, and obviously making sure the guests have gotten all aligned to come in, and we have a headliner that's an MIT graduate, and we wanted to make sure that his schedule allowed for him to be here, along with other people I've known for many years. So it's going to be a great event. I don't want to, say any more since I have Parkinson's, and I've kind of joked about it being my side hustle, but all in all, that's just a minor part of the story. The real story is the focus on artificial intelligence at this time, and you can see it everywhere. And sometimes when you don't see it, you find out later. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, "Are you artificial intelligence, or are you a real person?" I was just trying to test them, and I found out it was a real person. But I said, if it's the artificial intelligence, it's really good. But that's kind of the funny thing anymore is when you start talking to somebody is it a real person or is it somebody really trained to answer your questions? I went back and saw some clips on how much artificial intelligence has impacted Walmart, and you'd be really surprised there. But what I wanted to do here is to bring you into some invitations. We'll have some fun with that, but I want to make sure that you set your calendar, and this is more of an afternoon event on March the 4th, and there will be a news release and a website. I think you're going to find this to be an unbelievable opportunity to hear some of the experts on AI, and they're independent in the sense that they're not tied into anybody that I know of. They're sure not tied into me. We're doing this on friendships, and we're hopefully will do something for them, because I have had similar experiences in taking a open source software program. This was in cable TV on a much less lower level, out to globally, out to over 50 countries, but we did it on a platform that was on a desktop, and we allowed a lot of the features and functions of best of breed from using Microsoft, so we really moved fast, and I think they got a great opportunity as an alternative to the ones that we're seeing over in China and other places, even in the U.S., to come into a low cost and are really probably better than out in the market now. So that's the reason I'm excited about this. It didn't start that way. I just had to go over it. I wanted to come make a presentation, since I saw he was making presentations in Chicago and Detroit and Dallas and Atlanta and even out in D.C. I said, you ought to come to Little Rock. I think there's a lot of exciting things happening there, and a lot of stories. And you can go to Tyson, Walmart, Stevens, and on and on. So that's where this all kind of started from, but it's really started to jump, and I wanted to make sure you're aware of the date, March 4th, and please come. And you'll have registration, and there are some limitations as far as seating and events, so you really do need to register. Everything is free, but we'll have some fun with that too. Thanks. Well, one of the first things you think of in Argentina is tango. Now, I've been to tango bars, tango shows, and I've been to a lot of other things, but it's a lot more than that. They have some of the best tech people, and they're really some great people that are great managers, and so that's what we're going to see. Special shout out to people who have been helpful in making this happen.
You can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Well, you came and opened me, and now there's so much more I see.
So another obvious connection is Eva Perón, and her, her life there in Argentina. I recall that Sid Sreeve and I went out traipsed around the Recoleta, tremendous cemetery there, and it's kind of sprinkling, but we were able to find her, her burial place. She's part of a family, Durant family, and so Duarte family. Another part I was referring to is "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" has to be when you think of Argentina.
The truth is, I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is, I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise.
One of the many side stories was meeting Payne Stewart and Paul Azinger at the Masters, and they were getting, just money to come there, and they were just kind of piddling around. And it was kind of funny that speaking English, and because I had I was living in Harrison, and Payne was in Springfield, and he was making, he had a lot of conversation about what I was doing down here. So it was really kind of an interesting conversation. It was just a few months before he was killed in a plane crash. The other part was Bernhard Langer, who's won over golf tournaments you can think of, won the tournament. I was standing about where this picture was made at that time. Well, I was introduced to Pablo Albion by Sid Shreve from Arizona back around 94, 95. Well, probably about 2016, I stayed with the family there, and right outside of Washington, they were there. There was Mia, Pablo, Frankie, and Nora. Well, there's Frankie now with his, with Pablo's grandkid. Dad lived in D.C., and I think Zubair grew up in D.C., and then went to MIT and now lives in California. Shout out to Fitz Hill. Hope he can come. He came to Harrison several times and spoke to the Kiwanis Club. And, of course, there you see Sidney Moncrief. He is at my golf event. And then, of course, you see the group there that's our boxing group. And maybe some of those guys can make it down. I've been communicating a lot with Gwen over Facebook. And here's the star of the show. Here's my Dr. Dean. I'll talk about him later. And the guy sat by in church class every week is Gary Adams. And we always have a great conversation about the hogs. And Victoria, she's special in the sense that I did a podcast with her, and her mother has Parkinson's and lives in Cleveland. And here's the church dude. We have a lot of fun talking about his being out of Kentucky, and now he switched because of Calipari to the Hogs. And you can see Dr. Vermonti and then Frank O'Mara, and then here's the chair of neurology. We did a podcast, and here's some great friends that's been very helpful to me. And you can see there I am in therapy, and there I am with none other than Craig O'Neill. He did a podcast with me. Dave Woodman, he came over to the house, and Craig did too, and we did a podcast here, and we always get Craig and Wendy's support, and that's when I did the podcast with Sid. We did it at the bookstore, and here's two guys trying to outsmile each other, and there's my buddy at the zoo, always a friend. There's the Cowboy Dale. He'd have to check his guns at the door if he comes, but he does clean up pretty nicely. And there's old JJ. You saw his picture on the wall a while ago, but he brought a picture over, and I'm sure he didn't think I'd do what I did, but I hang it on the wall. I put 2 thumbs up every morning when I go by it. And I think this is a group at Rocksteady Boxing. And okay, at this point I'm going to switch gears and go to some of the people I've made contact with over the years. In the cable conventions, Mark Cuban was an exhibitor there when he was in high-def TV, and we had a conversation or two. And David Pogue, the CBS Sunday Morning, he's been interested in what we're doing in this TikTok era. And so you'll see a few people fly by there. and I'll mention a few of them, but they're people I've either had communication with or get occasional email or something on Twitter or something. So it's not just somebody that I don't know. I have had contact. Pogue was doing some things on the Bitcoin mining in Arkansas, and so there's a thing or two I kind of chimed in on. I'd been observing the situation in Harrison, so you'll see a few things like that, and you can go back to Robin Roberts when she was ESPN, and she was at cable shows, and just this person and that person. So I want to mention them at this time. Okay, one more connection between Little Rock and Argentina. I don't know how many knew James Cheek, the ambassador to Argentina, and he was appointed by Bill Clinton. But Jim Cheek lived in Little Rock, and he passed away living here. And I was on a flight back and forth between Argentina and Buenos Aires and Little Rock. But at one point, I had made contact with his office, and this is to introduce myself and that I was working down here, and I knew he was from Arkansas. And he had decided we'd go out to dinner. And again, I don't decide things like that. He said, sure. And he came by the hotel. It was a Marriott. And he was had a driver, and he was in a black Mercedes. And Sid Shreve, who did a lot of the business development, he was the guy, the rainmaker as far as traveling with me down here. He knew people from way back. He's a Mormon, and he grew up down here. And so he was there, and we were going to go out to eat. And when they come in, we were all dressed up in a suit, and he came in. No, he was wearing jeans. He was kind of laid back. What didn't appear to be an ambassador as far as the way he looked. But then, he selected the hotel or the restaurant. And typically in Argentina and Buenos Aires, they may start a little late in the day, but they work really late at night. So going out at 6 or 7, restaurants are pretty much empty. So we were going, 8, 9-ish. And you usually go there at that time, and maybe you spend, up until 10, 11 o'clock or whatever. But when we got over to the restaurant, found out that he was virtually a rock star down here. He had kind of been a Ted Lasso type person and supported a soccer team, the San Lorenzo team that was really pretty down as far as not being one of the better teams, but they turned it around, got it going, and he was at a point where even the president, Menem, was telling him to get off the referees because he was really making it tough on them when San Lorenzo didn't get the right things. And I did go to a soccer game, and it's totally different atmosphere too. But this night we went to the dinner, and he just got, it would be like going out with one of the top movie or TV stars. And so it was really a fun evening. We had a great time, and that led into a lot more introductions, and it's a top-down sale a lot of times in Latin America, not like maybe the States and some other places where you might go to middle management and work your way up like we did with Time Warner and others. But when you're selling something in that environment down here, and I saw a lot when we were starting up in small cable where we dealt directly with the ownership and made the deal. So we got, and even a lot of countries I went to, we were talking to billionaires and not the people that you might think of. So it's just a kind of a fun story, and I thought I'd include that at this point. Okay, we had Rick Nelson up for the golf event. I was kind of chairman of the Kiwanis Golf event in Harrison, so he was up there for a while. We had a fun time, and Dr. John Murch, he he's on my Speak with Intent class. So I got to know him very well, and I saw there that we have Pete Piper, ETI, and Leslie Stahl. I put her out there because her husband had Parkinson's, and 60 Minutes is always doing something on AI. So that's that, and now you can see David Pogue coming to Arkansas and doing his thing on Bitcoin mining. And I did quite a bit of stuff, research on that. And he'd been following me on this TikTok. And before I really got into my podcast, then here's Mark Cuban, early days at Cable, speaking at a convention, and now he's really deep in his AI, and he thinks it's great that these small companies are going to be able to do what they did in China, and that's same with, as we know, with this group from Argentina. And you saw well, exhibiting cable shows, you got to meet a lot of people, and of course Robin Roberts was working at ESPN at the time, and you could see Digger Phelps and Jay Billis in their younger days. And so you got that opportunity quite often. Doing a spinal cord stimulator, and we were doing a media interview. On the left, I'm Diego Maradona, famous Argentine soccer player for Halloween, and on the right, I'm Marshall from PGA. It's the old Bryce family to Harrison Juana's program he presented. Here I am at another cable show, and he's saying, well, you look like a Terry Bradshaw. And I think we all know this picture and this picture. Then we get back to Jim Kramer, and has a funny story getting into his booth at a cable show. And this is the first apprentice, Bill. And there you can see some of the Fox crew. And there I am hiding out, getting ready to go on a Chinese TV program. And then you see me going to another costume for Parkinson's. National podcast with George Hagerman. And his mother passed with Parkinson's, so it was very good. So I put an early draft of this podcast on finding your happy place, and then he put an early copy out on Spotify. So you'll see that it'll be coming out more so, and you'll see it on a lot of other things like Apple or even on YouTube and others. So, but I think we've had a great working relationship there. And there he was at the inauguration. He has been out there doing a lot of different
Sadly,
things.
she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started together for Sharon.com in her memory, and to advocate today for all the still battling PD and their families, because no one is ever alone in this fight for a cure. Today's guest is someone I've grown close with, pretty new, but someone who inspires me every day. Wanted to welcome you, Herb, to the show, and just a real honor to finally get the opportunity to advocate together.
Well, same here. I know, some of the things you're experiencing, what I'm experiencing are some of those, they parallel. And so I think it's always great to talk with people that see it from two different directions. And I really enjoy this opportunity, and I enjoy your podcast as well as the information. I've got your book over here somewhere, so I have looked through that and enjoyed all the experiences that you had, and what maybe you could may have done better, and what you may not have expected to happen. So I think I'm kind of in that same boat, and so I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. Assistant, and I'm a person that creative, and I think that the fact that I never give up. There's a little more than 3 words, but it's kind of the meaning of the 3 or the important things that kind of summarize me, and always looking for something that can be helpful to me, and maybe I think some of the older people may be the guinea pigs for people in the future, and we got the national plan to end Parkinson's that we may not be hearing as much about as we should, but that's come into play now as we got into 2025. So I've got an upcoming event, and this is on artificial intelligence with some people from Argentina I met 30 years ago, and they're really good friends, and they're coming into Little Rock, and we're doing a whole session on that, and then we're having an Argentina wine tasting, and I've been the one that's kind of been facilitator of it. I've gotten some good help from other people that are in the Arkansas Academy of Computing. That's some of the pioneers in computing, and they've been helpful to me. But this is an exercise when you get 81 years old. Some people can't think you could pull something like this off, but it's on March 4th here in Little Rock, and I'm looking for it to be a big success just because of DeepSeek and all the other things that are coming from so many different unusual places, and these people have been dealing with artificial intelligence for I've been around them, so I know that they've done a lot in the last 10 years, but they did a lot of virtual reality and near virtual reality and Internet of Things. So it's kind of nice to be on a technical level, or on that depth, I guess, at this stage, whereas some people would just barely, be communicating and not looking for interest like that. And that's one thing I think that kind of keeps me going is to come up with these ideas and see if I can make them happen. And this is probably one of the more challenging, just because of the nature of the event, but also attracting people to come to it. And so that's going to be my next focus on my next podcast is kind of introducing these people that I've known for years to people that will be the investors and other people that's doing tech work with artificial intelligence. So I think that's going to be a fun event, and that's going to be over the next month. So as far as our timing, I don't know when this podcast will be seen, but I'll be talking about it anyway. So
Thanks, Jim.
Totally separate from Parkinson's, I have diabetic neuropathy, and I've been dealing with that. That's Dr. Dean. That's actually my middle name. I don't. Heart surgeon, so he has a good idea of issues with circulatory issues, as well as a lot of the other things which I've been unable to get. Sometimes I go to a specialist, and they'll end up prescribing physical therapy, and then I found that the genesis of my problem was a blockage from the knee down to the foot, and there is a way to remedy that, and I had it done, and they've done it without a stent, but they had to do things like you think about your heart, and that's getting out the flack, and then getting it opened up. So that's why I want to feature Dr. Dean. Okay, Dr. Dean's picture on the internet and meeting him in real person are totally different.
I used to be a heart surgeon here,
You used to be a heart surgeon?
and I got sick. It was either go out on disability or continue to work over here. Because when you go from 100 hours a week on call every night to this, with all the good help that's over here, life gets a lot easier.
You look like a mountain man, so I think you probably...
I am kind of. I let my hair grow out after my divorce.
Oh, is that what it was?
Seem like thing to do.
Yeah.
It is.
You look like you know what you're doing anyway.
I went down to Little Missouri with the Ozark Society on a Sunday, and I was not the one with the longest hair.
Oh,
This Sunday?
We took, Woodrow had a Air Super Puma, my brother had one, and I had one, all with rolling frames. So we rode it. And then Marcel, who had the longest hair, the senior guy there, was in a whitewater canoe, as was Andy from Russellville. Andy's a physician up there. Where are you from?
I'm from Harrison, but I live here in Little Rock. I live out in Chenal Village, Chenal now.
Well,
Yeah, so.
my best friend in med school was from Harrison. He was actually from Valley Springs.
Oh, I graduated Valley Springs.
Then you know Kenny Collins.
Kenny Collins?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know all kinds of story about Kenny Collins and his wife Melissa and
Yeah.
his brother. Now, did you?
I used to go fishing with Kenny.
Did you?
He was a wealth of information on fishing.
Well, he's a hunter, fisherman, and he's in his environment up there because that's where he grew up. And he's got brothers, and he's got one sister that, she's in insurance now. But yeah, the Collins family is. Dad was a good. Well, he's still alive, and mother, and he was principal at
Kenny
Valley.
was Church of Christ, played basketball at Harding.
Yeah.
And he's just the best, the absolute best guy.
Yeah.
When he found out that I had boats and canoes, we
Yeah.
became fabulous friends.
Well, that's Have you been hunting with him, or you just fish?
Just fishing.
Just fishing. Well, yeah, he's got a dog worth thousands, I'd say. It goes, and I think maybe his son. They do some duck hunting. I don't know. His son does anyway. I don't know.
I've kind of lost track. I hadn't kept up with him, but he was just such a good guy.
Yeah. Well.
And like me, he went home. I'm from North Little Rock, so I went 3 blocks back over. And
Well, Kenny, he's an elder at the church there, and I was at Harrison, and of course I worshiped there in Northside, but we moved down here in February, and my son's here, and I have Parkinson's. My wife has ovarian cancer, and I have a daughter with birth defects. So we're still pretty independent, but being here next to a son that lives here and a daughter-in-law has made it much easier, and it's nice that we can come over here. My history with St. Vincent's is kind of odd. That one day, and it's been a long time ago, I had an issue. I think it was really maybe on an anniversary, and I don't know if it was drinking wine or what, but I had this thing where I had a heart issue, and the doctors up there didn't know what to do, and so they put me on an ambulance and they sent me down here, and I came to St. Vincent's, and I got really good treatment, but they did that catheterization, and they said, you're not ever going to die of a heart attack. Of course, I've had everything else, but the guy that was the doctor, I believe it was A.J. Thompson.
Yeah.
Thompson.
His office was in this building.
Was it?
Well, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he passed, but by him saying that, it always comes to my mind that because it wasn't a whole lot longer that at a young age he died of cancer. So you never know. But
You just never know.
yeah, but no, I
Do your best.
Hello there. How are you doing today? Have you ever heard the poem For Want of a Nail? I was very young when I heard it for the very first time. Let me try and recollect it here. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. All it took was a nail,